Ancestral wisdom, we will never see what is in front of us. For example, say my great great grandfather was, maybe doing something like, for example, abuse in the family system, and the son or daughter couldn't accept that my father was abusive or my father wasn't safe. So then that exact not acceptance is passed on through the epigenetics to the next generation. So, father represents authority figures in the world, any father figure, so safety boundaries. And this means that you will have a natural turning away from any abusive energies around government, around pharmaceutical, around anything around distortion of any system that represents authority, father in the system. So you will have a blind spot within you, which you'll pass on to the next generation. So these blind spots, it's not our fault. It's just something that, for example, if you see something very obvious in the world and you wonder why someone is not seeing it, it's often because of these epigenetic blind spots where maybe there's abuse in our childhood. The house is not safe, for example, their dad's not safe. And then I convince myself as a child that dad's safe. I need the love and acceptance from dad, and dad is safe. And then I'll bring that behavior or that blind spot into my life. So I'll work for an unsafe company, organization, boss, and I'll believe that it's good because dad's good. I'm still waiting for the approval from dad. And I cannot face that dad is not safe. Dad is dangerous. Dad didn't protect us. And I'm talking about not your father, I'm talking about even further back, generational. Usually this is generational and it's passed on very strong through the generational traits. So that is one example which is very strong in the world at the moment with different, things that are coming up in the world that you will not see things that your system has been programmed not to see, to deflect from, because as a child or your ancestors in a child couldn't handle it and needed to survive the house or needed to survive the war, for example. So I shut the system down and told myself a story that I'm safe. So then I will never know when I'm not safe and never know who's not safe. So these are the blind spots for me that's very important to accept in my system, and especially within the epigenetics, because we think it's often ours. And for example, it gets more difficult for the next generation, say your children, because what happens is, maybe I don't know anything about my great grandfather, but my father or, grandfather would know, but I don't know. So my grandfather would know exactly what he doesn't want to be because he has a direct mirror in front of him. He's experienced it himself. So but the next generation wouldn't know this information. So then that's in the epigenetics, and then it will come up in your life. So, for example, if my father was an alcoholic, I'll say, no, I'm not going to be an alcoholic. But maybe the next generation realized that daddy's not an alcoholic, so I'm not an alcoholic, but suddenly become an alcoholic because you didn't have the mirror to see it, or you didn't know there was an alcoholic in the system. So these are the epigenetic imprints that I'm going to work with within this webinar. And I really feel if you want to change the world, you must change your own world. And that is to see the uncomfortable things and accept the unacceptable within your system, to accept the unacceptable, to accept the unacceptable within your subconsciousness. And this will come up and play out in your life as a deflection. And even if you're talking to somebody who maybe is abusive, you will think they're not abusive because you cannot recognize that there was abuse in your family system, for example. So, or corruption. So I'm going to work in this webinar this evening, and if you can't make it, don't worry. It's going to go into the Academy, just like everything in the Academy. Then it's recorded, and then you can drop into them whenever you want. I was told by Spirit years ago to record them because you can drop back in and you'll have a new experience. It'll match you where you're at. So everything you would purchase within the academy, it's there in your library for life, and you can drop in a year, 2 years later, as many people do in the academy, and it will match you where you're at, and then you'll go deeper into another part of the system. It's not repeating the energy, it's just going deeper. And this evening's, as I said, is working with epigenetic disconnects. And this is where we forgot that we are loved, forgot that we are love, forgot that we are healthy, forgot that we are safe. So in this webinar, I'm going to be working with a lot of epigenetic health conditions which have been passed on, a lot of ancestral neglect, a lot of self-hatred, a lot of um, heavy thought patterns or shock memory fields that may have happened due to the war or due to family disputes or sibling disputes. So anything which is thrown you out of center, we will address within this webinar. So it's going to especially work on any epigenetic shock memory fields, heavy memory fields around distortion, around disconnection from your godly state, your whole state, the part of you that knows your love, the part of you that knows how to heal your body, the part of you knows you're successful, the part of you that knows that you're lovable and you're always loved and you always have been. But this is the programming that got in the way of it. So I'm going to work very deeply within the system, and I feel this is going to be one of the strongest webinars I've ever done. I start really going into it myself this week, and I can feel the potency of the field is ready for this big transformation on this planet at the moment. So we're all having similar experiences with our own goggles, and the field is super potent at the moment for a huge transformation. And I've never experienced it so much that there's huge transformation happening so fast and awakening so fast that we remember who we are. The gift is you're the gift. The gift is that you're whole. The gift is that you are completely loved already and you always have been. And some part of you got disconnected from that. The gift is that you are an incredible, loving being and totally connected to God. You are the gift. You are innocent. You are love and you are loved. You are supported by the divine. You are powerful in the heart. You are the gift. And that's what this webinar is about. It's about you reconnecting to you and releasing all the distorted messages, all the lies, all the programming from the system, all the goggles from the system, so you can connect to your inner that knows that you're love, knows that you're whole, knows that you're God, connected to God directly, knows that you're healed already. Your natural blueprint for healing. It's going to be a big one. Really, really big one. I know it's 4 hours. It's 4 different webinars. A lot of people I know don't like doing 4 hours and like to rush it. This is huge work. These are huge fields of transformation and huge opportunities. A lot of you have done the ancestral work with me before. This is going into a much deeper field of information. I've made incredible shifts in my own system in the last months. And when we're going in, we're going to much bigger mountains of information and releasing them to remember who you are. So if you've done webinars with me on ancestral lineage, I would invite you to drop into this one. This is a big one. This is a big one because these are big fields and there's a huge purging on the planet at the moment. We need poison to open the system, so to speak, and there's a lot of poison in the collective field at the moment, which opens up these memory fields. And that's when you're ready to resolve it. That's when you're ready to resolve it. It's deep, it's dirty, it's messy, and you're ready. You're ready. This is a big one, and this will bring you back into love, back into connection, back into balance, back into sovereignty of your health, your relationship with yourself, your creativity, your finances. It will work on all levels. I'm really excited to bring this in this evening, and it's really time to bring this in and forget and disconnect from all these lies that we are disconnected, that we are not lovable, and all the old shame, all the old illusions. We can drop them. We can drop them and stop playing these games with each other. mind control, mind manipulation, all these we can drop out of the system. It's time to drop them. Stop playing the games. Stop being part of the game. Step out of the matrix on these games. We did enough. We learned enough. Now it's time to disconnect from them and to connect to who we really are as a soul sovereign being, completely healed, completely whole, completely loved and supported by God. I invite you to be part of this awakening. Thank you. And if you cannot make it, you can watch it at a later date. Enjoy. Thank you.